Now, there are a lot of people that are actually grabbing the native soil in their backyard and doing things to it. Do you recommend that? Like adding in fertilizer, for example, some sort of aeration, inoculating it with microbes? Do you recommend folks do that instead of going out and buying a bagged potting soil from their local nursery, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. Just like native soils, compost, potting soils, all those can vary quite a bit in quality. And I just moved to Fox Island here in Washington State, and we are within like 10 or 15 miles of an area that had an old smelter. And so the amount of heavy metals in our soils is really high. If I lived in a city, for example, where I knew there's been a lot of disturbance, there's been a lot of, leaching and things that may have come into contact. Like if, let's say I'm trying to grow in like a sideway patch or something or sidewalk area or somewhere that was close to a road, I would be a little more cautious to bring that indoors. Now, if I lived on acreage in the woods and that soil was of good quality, then we could talk about how to amend that or use that for growing plants. But like here, I won't use my native soil for growing anything I plan on consuming, any edible crops, just because of the fact that I know our soil is quite high in heavy metals here in the area that I'm in, and I just don't think it's safe for my family.
And we're going to get into heavy metals here in a little bit. That's a topic that isn't talked about enough, in my opinion. So I can't wait to dive into that in a little bit. Okay, so let's say that folks aren't able to use the native soil in their backyard. Either they can't do it or they simply prefer using a bagged potting mix. What brands do you recommend?
Yeah, let me back up real quick before I answer that too. So when we're talking about evaluating soils, or potting soil, which is actually technically soilless media, even what we're calling living soil today is really a soilless media because it doesn't contain actual sand, salt, and clay. What I look for is sort of this picture like a triangle or a tripod. And the three things that I'm looking at is one, the physical properties of that soil. How well does it drain? How well does it retain nutrients? What kind of porosity does it have? How compacted is it? What ability do the roots have to penetrate deeper into that soil? So you have the physical properties of that soil that's really important for healthy plants, gas exchange, water, hydrology, all of that sort of thing. The next aspect is the biological aspect of this. Now you can kind of cut that out if we're going straight to synthetic nutrients. But if we're using an organic system, it's that biology that's obviously really important for cycling nutrients and making them into a plant available form. And then the last aspect of the fertility is the actual minerals in that soil. The amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, calcium, all of our major essential plant nutrients. So that's sort of where I start in my head when I'm thinking about using a soil or using a potting soil, whatever the media is really, how do I address or adjust those three things to make sure they're optimal for whatever plant I'm growing?
This clip is brought to you by AC Infinity. Use discount code MrGrow at 15 to save on any of their products.